I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Hello and welcome to the challenge. Today we have an awesome guest, and like I always say, we're going to get right into it. We have a dynamic brother from Africa, an artist. His name is George Annan Kingsley, and without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce him and then we'll get right into it. How you doing today, George?
Oh, by the grace of God, I'm fine.
All right. So you're here today to kind of discuss your work as an artist, but also kind of your journey in life. And what we do here on the challenge is we like to highlight people that are in the city, dynamic people such as yourself. So like I said, we'll just start by saying, where are you from?
I'm from Côte d'Ivoire.
Mm-hmm.
Côte d'Ivoire is Ivory Coast. People know more. It's a country near in West Africa, in between Ghana and Liberia.
Okay. Now, how long have you been in the United States?
I came in the United States in March, 7th
Wow.
March.
Of this year?
This year.
All right, so you're new to America.
Yeah.
All right. So our viewers know, like, you grew up in Ghana, or?
No, I grew up in Côte d'Ivoire. I was born in Ghana.
Okay.
Because my mother went back to Ghana because of family problem that she was having. She went back and I was born there. But my father and everything were staying in Côte d'Ivoire. So she have to go back to Côte d'Ivoire, and I grew up everything in Côte d'Ivoire.
All right. Now, art, because you are an artist, was art always a part of your life, or what was it like as a child in Côte d'Ivoire?
It's a part of my life, art, because my father himself, in weekends, he used to paint.
Okay.
So, you know, I at the age of 10, I got the virus in me, and I started trying to do the portraits of my mother, and I was able to do, and I started like that.
Yeah, now I've seen some of your work, and I know just from talking to you some of your background, but I want you to kind of let our viewers know. So you started painting at 10 before you got your education, but how good were you? Did people say, wow, you got a lot of talent, or they were like...
Yeah, I was having a lot of talent. Was wonderful for that one, because even my father, you know that I was having something, a gift. You know, I was having a gift, and in the primary school, I used to draw in class for the teachers. Okay. You know, I used to draw, so I still continue, but my father didn't want me to be an artist.
Okay. What did he want you to be?
A technical engineer like him.
Oh, okay.
You know, yeah. But I did what he wanted me to do up to the secondary school. You know, before going to the university, I had what we call it, there is back is a year before going to the university, I have a technical diploma. You know, but I didn't want to go to further the technique. Okay. So I wanted to do arts. So he told me, man, in Africa, you are going to eat sun. I say, I have to think about it. And after 2-3 days, I say, Father, I want to eat sun. Yeah.
So what's it, sun?
Sun is stones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so he was saying that he wants you to work with stones.
No. If I'm an artist, I'm going to eat stones.
Oh, eat stones.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Meaning you weren't going to make any money.
So
let me ask you this, because I've seen pictures in Africa, and art is part of the culture. So artists traditionally, they just don't make any money, or is it just such a hard profession to make a living at?
It's a hard profession to make a living out of it, but if you have the capacity and the knowledge, you can make it. For instance, me, I went to the art school. I did my bachelor, and I was posted as a teacher of art in secondary schools. And while being there, I was doing my exhibitions, and I was doing also some contract in interior decorations. And I had a contract with the French embassy in Ghana. So I went to Ghana for 4 years working with the French embassy as an assistant to the culture attaché. It's a French word. it means that at the embassy there's a person who's in charge of arts, visual art or music and everything.
Right.
So I was assisting him in his duties. So I got a scholarship there to go to Paris to do my master's.
Okay, so early on you were earning a living as an artist.
Yeah.
So that was in Paris, correct?
Yeah.
So if you would have stayed in Africa, would that same opportunity have been possible?
Yeah, I was in Africa because the French embassy, it was in Ghana.
I see what you're saying. You were in Africa working at the French embassy.
Yeah.
They hired you. So
Yeah.
over here in the United States, you make a painting. You're not necessarily under contract. You
Yeah.
sell your art, and
Yeah.
whatever you make, you
Yeah.
keep. You're saying over there was a little bit different for the embassy. You were like under contract, meaning.
I was on contract with the embassy, but also I can do my paintings and do my exhibitions. So I was doing it also.
Okay, so you were able to earn
Something through my
Was that a
artworks.
decent living? Were you eating stones?
I was not eating stones. And something happened that I even built a house
Oh, okay. All
through
right.
that. And I invited my father
Okay.
and lived inside before he passed away.
Okay.
So he was happy that I was able to eat meat, not
Right.
stone, and it was great. It was great.
Oh, okay. So, and that's some interesting information. That at some point you transition and you leave and you go to Paris, the country of Paris, correct?
Yeah. I went to Paris for 1.5 years to do my master's, and at the same time working with some French institution in culture also there.
Okay.
So normally I have to do 2 years, but I did 1 year for my master's because I create things from Africa that were quite different from what they were having there. So
You mean things like your style of art?
my style of art and even the stone that I've created, is quite different from what they used to do there.
Okay, so you were received very well in
Yeah, yeah.
But you think your connection to the embassy is what got you in the country to study, or you would have went there even if you weren't connected to the embassy?
Somehow I had a scholarship from the embassy.
Oh, okay. So,
Okay, but I had the scholarship because I was good.
mhm.
That's it. I was good.
And let me ask you this, because I didn't get to the point. How did you kind of link up with the embassy? What was it that they saw your paintings, or
No,
because that's a pretty high level.
Yeah,
position.
I was teaching in secondary schools back home in Africa, in Cote d'Ivoire, and I had a student whose father was working at the French embassy.
Oh, okay.
And one day he just called me and said, "Sir, there's a post in Ghana for somebody who can speak English, who have a French background. So can you try it?" And I said, "Okay, I will just try," because I want also to come out of Cote d'Ivoire and try another country at the same time. So I went there and they test me and I make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is the difference, you say, when part of your transition from Kosovo, or am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Cote d'Ivoire.
Cote
Yeah,
d'Ivoire
yeah.
to Paris. What were some of the challenges that you felt? Because you had to leave your family behind, right?
Yeah. But the chance that I was having, I was not married at that time.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't have a lot of responsibility. So I was able to move from Cote d'Ivoire to Ghana, stay in Ghana, and from Ghana go to Paris without any fear. But while I was in Paris, motherland Africa, I was mixing it.
Right.
The heat of Africa, the love of Africa, I was mixing it. So when I finished, I just packed my things. I say I want to go back.
You want to go back? Oh, so
Yeah.
you were homesick.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
what? When you're in your homeland, what is the difference? Is it like U.S.? Is it rural, or is it a city where you grew up at?
It's a city. I grew up in the city. In Cote d'Ivoire, it's Grand Bassam. It's the first capital. It was the first capital of Cote d'Ivoire. Okay, so I grew up in the city, and in fact, we are having all what we needed, really.
Okay,
Yeah.
so your father said you want to be engineer. What do most people do? So if you don't do the art, would you have become an engineer, or what? How does someone earn a living if they're living in?
Oh, they have all kind of job like in America here.
Oh, okay.
Doctors, lecturers, whatever that you have in America, we have it also there.
Okay, so it's a pretty modern,
Yeah,
area.
yes.
So now that you, and then we're going to talk because we only have a few more minutes now, so I don't want to get into the art part. So you go back to Paris. I mean, you go back to Kosovo after leaving Paris. You got your degree.
Yeah.
You're not homesick anymore, right?
Yeah. So I went back to Ghana first.
Mm-hmm.
I finished my contract with the French embassy,
Okay.
and I went back to Cote d'Ivoire, and I was posted at the University of Arts, at the university, the art department.
So let me just ask you: when you say a contract with the French embassy, you actually paint, and then the paintings become their property, or
No, it was a contract. I was working at the cultural department, trying to figure out young artists in Ghana. Trying to get young artists, trying to post them in some art schools, trying to get scholarship for them, trying to run the embassy culture center, having the place of exhibition, trying to do that one. Also in music, trying to help young artists coming out with some scholarship or things, whatever can be in arts.
Okay.
I was part of the decision.
okay. I see what you're saying. So you weren't actually painting for the embassy.
No.
All right. So then when you get back to Ghana, you got this education, you got another view of the world, right?
Yeah.
And you're bringing that back.
Yeah,
so how was that transition back?
Oh, that transition was very good because when I was back in Ghana, I had some private students who came to my house to learn what I went to learn in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
So I gave at least 22 young students who were coming in my house, and I was giving them some lectures that I was not doing in the university in Ghana. So I was doing those things as part-time. And most of them right now are doing the exhibition and working in Ghana, in West Africa.
Oh, today?
Yeah, today.
All right. So you would think from the time that you were doing art and when you were younger now, has the culture in the country in Ghana and the Kosovo, is it more inviting to art? Is it more acceptable for someone young to say, I want to be an artist? And
right now, I think it's quite better now. It's quite better because in those two countries, all the ministers of education and the cultural department are trying to raise the level of the artist. The government of both those two countries are trying to give more light to art life. And also the thing is that you can be a good artist, I used to say, but you have to add something on it. I was adding the teaching of arts, teaching of art, so that when you don't sell, at least you have your salary.
Right. Yeah. Now, your first painting that you received money for, what was that like? Because you do something, you know you're good, but until somebody pays you, that's kind of like a validation that
it's true. But the chance was that even in the art school, when I started the art school, I started selling my things.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was grateful for God for that, because I was doing some portraits, people portraits, and some signs, symbols, things that people can use.
Right.
And I went to do cloth, tie and dye. We call it tie and dye.
Yeah, tie-dye.
Tie and dye. I did it, for restaurant and things. So I was making money out of it.
Okay. Yeah. But that was stuff that I came to you and said, I want you to paint this for me. Yeah. I'm talking about your own creation that you envisioned, and then someone said that I want this.
Yeah, I remember my first abstract work that I sold. It was in the school exhibition, and somebody came and said, wow, I like this one. And how much is it?
Did you know how much?
I know. So I was there. The man say, how much is it? I'm ready to pay. I was there like that, and I just give a figure. And my master just showed me, say, no, double.
Did he buy it?
Yeah. And the guy bought it.
Oh, okay.
He bought it, and he became one of my best friends.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, I'm glad that you came on today, George. There's some interesting things that I didn't know about your journey as far as initially how you got into art, and it's definitely an inspiration to myself and the young people here and people in general that have a talent, but there's always that transition of having a talent and actually believing so much in your talent that you want to make a living and make that part of your life. So that's some interesting stuff, and we're gonna have you back. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you very much, brother.